Hi there everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sara Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sara. Today I'm excited to show you the Sweet Bee collection of papers and die-cut embellishments from our friends at Studio Light. So let's take a closer look, and we can begin with our paper pack. So this paper pack is generously sized. It's an A4 size, meaning it's slightly bigger than 8.5 by 11, and it contains 36 double-sided sheets, 4 each of 9 designs. You can see swatches of them here on the front cover, but I thought it would be more fun if we could flip through and take a look at the designs as they go. So here you'll see one side, and then the next sheet will be what's printed on the reverse. Really pretty, delicate florals. You can see some of them down here as well. The color palette is so soft and beautiful. I love how everything is coordinating. So of course these two can go beautifully together, and then this one could also go with the one right after it. So a lot of different creative possibilities here. In addition to the florals, you'll have the honeycomb and the bee motifs. You'll also have a lot of very useful faux texture designs here. And again, these are created to go together to make it really easy to design your card projects so that everything is kind of together, which really makes it nice. Here again, another nice faux texture design. You've got some honeycomb pattern in the background and then some distressing on top. Really nice all over design here. This is one of my favorites too. I think this is really useful. You have some script along the sides, top and bottom, and then this sort of mottled effect there. We've got our bumblebees, and of course they go perfectly with this sheet, again with some script and some layering. Beautiful floral design elements on here, and then like a faux corrugated look. Really useful. Then to go along, you have a pack of coordinating die cuts. Now there are 20 sheets in here. You have 2 each of the 10 different designs that I'll show you here. Really soft and delicate florals. These are beautiful. I love this image here. Of course, the botanicals, and you're going to have your bees and your honeycomb images in here as well. And some focal elements too, some nice layering possibilities. You also have several that you can use as they are, or you can add your own personalized messages in here too if you want. And then some really fun corner treatments in there too. So we have got a lot to play with today. There is just a lot in each of these collections, a value-packed webisode for us today. And of course, everything is designed to coordinate perfectly, so it's easy to create beautiful and unique card projects. I'm really glad you're here today, and I am so excited to explore the creative possibilities with you. So come play with us. Let's start with this card, which uses one of my absolute favorite papers in the paper pack. So I first covered my card front with solid cardstock from the Window View collection. Now this is from Paper Wishes, and you can see the beautiful array of colors here. Now a lot of these colors will work beautifully with this sheet in particular, so I thought we could play one of my favorite games, if you'll indulge me. So here's a piece of that bright green cardstock, which is the one that I used. On the other side, though, is a darker green shade, and I think that looks really nice, too. There's also, of course, if I wanted to do a classic brown, that would look really pretty as well. Then there is also this really pretty kind of purplish color. That looks beautiful, too. And then finally, my other option was this teal blue. So really kind of depending on the look that you're going for and the other elements that you're using on your card, you really have a lot of choices when it comes to mixing and matching your cardstock colors. So I've covered my card front with the green, trimmed down that pattern paper slightly smaller, and then just glued that there. Now the card design is all made really easy with some very simple layering. And I'm using the honeycomb die cuts. So this is from this sheet here. You've got lots of options as well. So I've just kind of tucked those behind this large focal element, and that's this guy right here. So these all just pop right out of the backing sheet, and then you can add them to your card. Now here I've glued down the honeycomb straight onto the front of the card, and then this element is popped up with foam tape, and I have some little bees there, and then I also have a tag sentiment, and this is where those come from. So you have a lot of choices with those as well. Now, one thing you may be noticing is some gold foiling going around the outside edge here of my pattern paper. So I added that gold foiling before I glued it down onto my card front. And this is one of my favorite ways to use Wow's Fab Foil. And this stuff is a lot of fun. You get a lot in a little package, and it comes in a couple of different finishes. I think the classic gold works beautifully with this color combination. Now, they will give you some instructions on the back here of some different ways to use the Fab Foil. I'll show you one of my favorites, which is a really easy technique using the Fab Foil and a glue stick. So let's have a look at this. I'll move aside my card and bring in just a piece of plain cardstock here. And then I've got some of my foil. Let's see. Now the foil goes a long way because you get a lot of it, but also because you can use it until it's basically bald or totally see-through, like you can see here. So I always save my little snippets and I can make good use of them. So what I'm going to do is just take my glue stick and simply apply my glue along the edge of my cardstock, wherever I want to have the gold sticking. And then I'm just going to take my foil and place it on top. I think I've got enough with this piece that it will cover all of the areas. I'm going to smooth this down really well, and then I just need to let this set aside and let that glue dry. And what I will do also is I'll put, this looks terrible, I'll put one of my die cutting plates on top, or you could put a book on top, and let that dry thoroughly. Just let it sit for a couple of minutes. Now before I started filming, I did take a piece and added some gold on top. So we've got a piece where the glue is already dry, and I can pull those off. And you can see I used a patchwork effect for this, for my foil. And there you go. You can see how pretty and shiny that is. So the technique really just takes a couple of minutes for that glue to dry. And of course you can add as much or as little as you want. And then, you know, save all of your little gold foiling scraps because you can put them to use again. All right, so back to the card. This way you can see some of that gold foiling around the edge. Then for my card inside, I have more of this beautiful pattern paper. Plus I have a little envelope die cut. Now this is from the die cut collection, and all you need to do is just fold that up really easily. So it just folds up on 3 sides, and then you can tuck inside your tag. And I've got my tag with a little snippet of cut offset paper here, which I've just threaded right through there. And then I've added the bee cutout, and then I've also got the Sending Smiles Dazzle. Now the Sending Smiles Dazzle sheet has a lot of different ways of writing Sending Smiles. So you can have it going across the bottom, you can have it going stacked separately. So just pop that down. You'll also notice some little hearts on here. These are also from this sheet as well. So to take that tag, all you need to do is get your die cut pocket like this, and then simply follow those fold lines, the score lines, to fold that up. You may want to use your bone folder after you've got those folded, just to crease that down. And I also added some gold foiling around the edges of my pocket before I glued it right in here. And then some of those hearts and the dazzle. I've got some more of the hearts here on the front. It's just a really fun and easy way to combine these pattern papers, the cardstock, and some of that gorgeous gold foiling. Here's another fun and easy card that takes advantage of that gorgeous patterned paper. Let's have a look at this sheet. I just love this. And I love all of the different options that you have for just cutting out and using one portion of the design. So I could use that. I could also use this top area here too for my card front. But you can see here I've trimmed this section out, and then I've matted it onto this kind of faux texture design. So that's my middle piece. And then I've covered my card front with this sheet here. So I've got the three of these elements all going together. And it's such an easy way to create some nice layers and definition. So those are the sheets that I've used for the card. And you can see I've got some more gold foiling going around the outside edge there. And then I've only added a couple of the die cut elements. So I've got this flower grouping, which is glued straight down. The tag has been popped up with foam tape. This little bumblebee is glued onto the foam taped tag. And then I've got these two pieces down here also popped up with some foam tape. So really simple and easy on the card front. And then on the inside, I've got a bit of a surprise with a fun pop-up bouquet design. So you can see how that just pops up as soon as you open the card. And I think it is a really fun combination of a technique with this particular collection of Sweet Bee elements. So let's take a look at how to do that. Here I'm using the bouquet pop-up card cutting dies. This is going to make everything so much easier. And in this die set, you've got your pocket, which is this fan-shaped piece. Then you've also got a series of nested florals and a leaf. So you've got lots of elements that you can use if you want to fill your bouquet. On the back of the package, of course, you've got your written instructions, project idea, and then you have your folding diagram. This is really simple to do. The red that you see indicated on there is pretty important. This is to mark extra sticky tape because you definitely do want to have a very secure tape for this. So let's take a look at folding this. It's very simple. So here's the pocket piece. And you'll simply fold up, and again, you may want to grab that bone folder and score those lines to make sure that you've got all of those lines really nicely creased. I've got my extra sticky tape just on those two side panels, and I'm aligning that tape right along the edge, so not covering the entire piece, and that's going to be pretty important. So what you'll do there after you've got this all folded up is take your card blank and do whatever covering you want to do on the inside of your card before you add in your bouquet. So you'll remove your liners from the extra sticky tape and just simply pop that in there. So this will be held down really up along the seam of the fold of the card. So you want each of those sides to go on either side of the crease of your card. Okay, so pop it down and then you can decorate as you wish. Now what I do suggest you do is position the bottom of your bouquet holder closer to the bottom of your card. If you pop it up here, you may not have enough room for whatever elements you want to add on the inside of your card. And I've got another one. This is not as high contrast, but I think you can still see how that goes. So it's really easy to do and creates a really fun effect. So let me grab my card back here and you can see what I've done on the inside. First, I've added some gold foiled pattern paper on either side. Now when I glued these pieces down, I glued one over here and one over here, leaving the fold of my card free so I won't end up with a bubble of extra cardstock going over that fold. And then I've added in my bouquet holder. I've got a large die cut with flowers here, and then some of the leaves and some of the die cut floral pieces from the cutting die set, as well as some elements that come from the Sweet Bee collection. So it's a really fun way to combine those, and of course you've got a really fun surprise for the inside of your card. I love these large die cut images and how easily they combine to create a layered design. So here I'm using this large fern image overlapping with two floral images. So here and here. And then on top is the smallest fern, which is right there. So everything combines together so beautifully. Here I've added each of the layers with foam tape, including the large floral here, the large fern, and that's going to create some really nice depth and dimension for my card focal. Then the tag here is also popped up on foam tape, and I've added a little bow tied in jute twine. This is one of my favorite ways to add a little bit of softness and texture. So the jute twine package, of course, contains a lot of different colors, and I'm using this sort of natural light brown color on here. So just a bow tied in there and glued right on top. Now my background is a combination of this border piece, which is what I've used to cover the front of my card. Then on top, I've got a little bit of this floral piece showing. I've got the two layered like so. And then my main piece here is the green with the flowers on it. So I've aligned them about like so to create a really nice border down here at the bottom, and then I have some of this green portion showing on top. Now also on my background I've got some gold foiling. Now as you can see here, it's not made with the glue stick, but rather with a splattering effect. And this is a really easy way to use that fab foil too. So let's have a look here. First of all, very important, I'm working on my craft mat, and that's going to work as my palette. It will also protect my work surface. And I'm going to grab a piece of cardstock as well as my craft acrylic glue. Now this is the Cosmic Shimmer glue. I've put this into my precision applicator. This is just what I always have on my work surface because it keeps a little bit of glue to hand, and it also works really nicely with that precision applicator. I have a water brush, or you could also use a paintbrush, and then I have some water. So let's move aside the card here, and I'm going to just decant a bit of glue onto my craft mat and put the pin back in that precision applicator, and then I'm going to add some water just next to this. And I'm going to make a watery, gluey wash. You need it to be fluid enough that it will splatter, but you don't want it so fluid that it really dilutes the glue part of this. So I'm mixing this up. And then, as with splattering ink, all you need to do is hold your water brush perpendicular to your surface and then smack it with your other hand. You can add as much or as little as you want. Depends on how many splatters you want. And then when you are done with this, be sure and put this into some water so that the bristles don't glue. I think you can see my splattering on there. I'm going to quickly mop this up from my craft mat. This is the beauty of the craft mat. And then quickly take my foil. That one's a bit too bald. Let's take this. Place it on top, smooth it down just as before, and put it underneath something heavy. Now, of course, I've got a piece that I did not too long ago, and when I pull this off, you can see the beautiful splattering on there. Now, you will get a different look every single time, which is part of the fun. Give it a few practice rounds and have a play and see what you think, because I think it's a great way, whether you're adding this onto a white or light colored background or onto a patterned piece, you're going to get a really fun effect. Then at the bottom, I have the With Love Dazzle message. And for my card inside, I first foiled this corner pocket that you see here, and then added it to a piece of pattern paper and glued it to the inside of the card. So the pocket is one of the cutouts. It's going to look like this. You just simply fold this up on the lines indicated. Again, you may want to grab your bone folder for this, score those lines, and then you'll simply hook it on to your background paper. Glue the back of that, and then you can just simply glue it onto the inside or even the front of your card. And then I have some more of those floral pieces. These are popped up with foam tape, and I have a dazzle message to finish it off. Our final card project today also has a lot of splattered gold on that patterned paper, and I've got some gold on this butterfly die cut as well. And this is just a piece of cardstock which I foiled before die cutting. It's an easy technique. So let's take a look. These are the dies that I'm working with, and these are from Paper Wishes. This is a die set that is in limited stock right now, so just to let you know about that, Paulette told me before I started filming that we don't have very many of them left. What I like about this, though, is that you've got 6 dies in total. You have 3 silhouette butterfly shapes and then 3 coordinating detail or more intricate designs, and they can be layered up one on top of the other or used individually, just depends on how you like to do that. So what I've done here is simply taken a piece of plain cardstock, and I've got my foil sheet on hand too, and my glue stick. And what I'm going to do is just add some glue stick, a light coat or a heavy coat, just depends on how much gold you want on there. And then grab a piece of your gold foil, place that on top. If you don't mind a distressed look, which I really like, you can use one of your pieces that doesn't have as much gold on it, like I've got this piece here. Smooth it down. Again, let that dry, let the glue dry totally, and then you can pull this off and you will have beautiful distressed style gold foiling. And then, I'm looking for my butterfly, then you can take your butterfly, cutting side down, place that wherever you want it to go. I use a little bit of my hunky-dory low-tack tape to secure that in place. Run it through your die cutting machine and you can add it to your card project. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the foil will not get stuck inside your die unless that glue hasn't dried totally. So do make sure that the glue has dried completely before you pop this down and run it through your die cutting machine. And then you will have a beautiful butterfly that looks like this. So I've simply layered this one up onto its coordinating silhouette shape, and those two are popped up on some foam tape. And this is part of a collage of die cut images. I've got this piece here which is popped up on foam tape, and then I've got some florals tucked around here. I have a script dazzle at the bottom of my card. Now this is a layered technique, and I'm using, of course, my favorite script dazzles. I really love these. I think the script is beautiful. It's a really pretty font. It's also readable, which is always important. And in this case, I've used the black and the gold. I put the gold on top of the black. And I have another example that I can show you here with this word happy. So I first glued, or not glued, but I first placed down the black word happy and then positioned the gold right on top, just slightly offset, and it gives you a really fun shadow effect. So that's what I've done down here at the bottom of my card. Then for my card inside, I have some more of this beautiful pattern paper. I have the I love you dazzle and another butterfly die cut image up here. And this is our final card project of the day today. So a big thank you to our friends at Studio Light for this really fun collection. I had a great time working with it. And thank you to you for joining me today. We're always so happy you're here, and we're just happy that you're a part of our Paper Wishes family. Please feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes Webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.